Hi everybody, this is me going live just for a moment because they say confession is good for the soul. So I came out of the starting blocks this morning, racing, ready to get up and just hit it hard, and even almost got out on time. Everything was moving rapidly, close to plan. I get out to the car and everything's been rearranged. My mount for my phone has been yanked out, and my gas tank was decisively lower than what it was where I started out. And of course, the person who used the car the last few times didn't even bother to check the tire pressure, which is something you do need to check when the temperature changes as much as it changes here in Metro Atlanta. But all said and done, we still made it out. We made it out to our destination, and everything seemed to be going well. And we'd gotten up and done our devotions. We'd gotten the shower, and our hair and makeup somewhat right. And so we were on our journey. And you know how you do. You look at your social media, and you look at what's going on with your friends. And you have all these great thoughts and ideas, and you're doing so well that from one of your devotions on the 20th of December, you read day 19. So everything is good for you. You're good. It's everybody else that's got the issues. So after my day actually got started and things started to shift, and I had to rush back here to allow someone else to use that car to get some things done, I decide to pull out day 20 from Joel Osteen. I decide 31 days of promises to speak over your life. Oh boy, 31 whole days of promises to speak over your life. So here we go. I'm just gonna share with you and let you laugh with me. Hopefully some of you guys are hitting lunch, or this will get before lunch, and you'll be better off than what I was. Day 20. I declare that I am calm and peaceful. By the time I read this, I'd already had my own personal implosion. I will not let people or circumstances upset me. I will rise above every difficulty, knowing that God has given me the power to remain calm. I choose to live my life happy, bloom where I am planted, and let God fight my battles. This is my declaration. The good thing is that I keep this in my throne room, and before I had a chance to really have a full implosion, I had read it, so I was 75% saved, but 99.5 just won't do. So I'm going to read a little bit about what Joel said here from this declaration about, I declare that I am calm and peaceful. I will not let people or circumstances upset me. I will rise above every difficulty, knowing that God has given me the power to remain calm. I choose to live my life happy, bloom where I'm planted, and let God fight my battles. This is my declaration. And again, for those of you who are just joining me, I am reading, I declare, Joel Osteen's 31 Promises to Speak Over Your Life. Joel proceeds to give a short narrative about a lady who told him about one of her husband's relatives who was very opinionated. He was always making these cutting, demeaning remarks about her. The couple had not been married long. Every time they went to family get-togethers, relatives would say something to offend her, and she would get all upset, and it would ruin the day. She reached the point where she refused to even go to family events. Finally, she told her husband, "You've got to do something about that man. He is your relative." She was expecting her husband to say, "You're right, honey. He shouldn't talk to you like that. I will set him straight." But the husband did just the opposite. He said, "Honey, I love you, but I cannot control him." You know, I kept hearing God say, Beth, I love you, but I could not control them. And just like her husband said, he has every right to have his opinion. They have every right to make the choices to do the actions that they do. Her husband, or Joel, continues to say here that he can say what he wants to, but you have every right not to get offended. You have every right not to get, as Bishop Long used to tell us, off-ended from your goal, from your mission, from your course of remaining calm. At first, she couldn't understand why her husband wouldn't really stick up for her. Time and time again, she would become upset. If this relative was in one room, she would go in another. If he went outside, she would make sure she stayed inside. She would focus. She would always focus on avoiding this man, until one day she realized that she was giving away her power. It was like a light turned on in her mind. She was allowing one person with issues to keep her from becoming who she was meant to be. How many times do we go on our places of employment or in the course of our day and allow a situation or issue keep us from being who God preordained and predestined before the foundations of the world for us to be? It's our choice. And as Joel says here, when you allow what someone says or does to upset you, you're allowing them to control you. When you say, you make me so mad, what you're really doing is admitting that you're giving away your power. When you say the devil made me do it, you're admitting that you relinquished your power and your control to an entity that's already been placed underneath your feet, because he's underneath Jesus' feet and we're the body. And if you're not, still the same rules apply. So as long as that person knows that they can push this button, you'll respond this way, and you're giving them exactly what they want. As long as these people, those types of people, know that they can push this button, you'll respond this way. You're giving them exactly what they want. And I'm reflecting even to what Bishop Neil Ellis preached in his message Sunday morning, which can be found at Mount Tabor in the Bahamas. He talked about 4 types of people to be aware of for 2019 that are going to be critical to you moving into your destiny in 2019 and being successful beyond measure. And one of the persons he mentioned was the controller. But understand at the end of the day, you're the one who moves the switch.
A little music.
Going back to Joel, Joel says that people have a right to say what they want, to do what they want, as long as it's legal. Well, in this day and age, we know they do all the above. But we have a right not to get offended. We have a right to overlook it. But when we get upset and go around, and get upset and go around, we change. What's happening is we're putting too much importance on what they think about us. We're putting too much importance on what they're doing versus what we know we should be doing. At this point, you really have to do an emotional checkup from the heart to the head up. Because it is written that, that to guard your heart, because out of it flow all the issues of life. And there's actually something else behind guard your heart, like at all costs, because out of it flows every issue, every situation, every challenge, every concern in life. You're responding. You have the control. You have the right. So what they say about you does not define who you are. What people think about you, what they say about you, it only defines you if you decide to make that change. Their opinion of you does not determine your self-worth. And I'm saying this to a lot of you because you're taking your lunch braces now. And that was part of the reason why I realized my day was shifted. Because when I went back and laughed at the fact that I didn't even read what was for day 20 until about 11 o'clock today, I realized, I said, this has impacted you so much that you're not alone. You're not alone. So, what their opinion is, what they say, what they do, and as Edward would say, King Edward Long would say, who the hell are they? Let let that bounce off you like water off a duck's back. A duck has a special oil repellent that makes things just bounce off. They have every right to have their opinion, and you have every right to ignore it. You know, it's interesting because it's also written in Psalms, as a man thinketh in his heart, so is he. Let's start talking about the heart. The heart has emotion, and that emotion is fueled by energy. So when I read about why these people always think, or why I'm always attracting this type of man, or why are all these types of people approaching me all the time, we really have to look at our heart. And what I'm saying by that, I'm not saying that's something that you want, but if you fuel so much energy and emotion out of that heart for what you don't want, that's what you're going to receive. Just let that sit for just a moment. Something that you don't like. God says, get angry, but sin not. You know, that sin has to do with that emotion, because that emotion you put behind a thing, you will attract that thing to you. So if you don't release it and let it go, if you don't learn to forgive and release and press forward, if you learn, you can be upset about it, but you know what, after a while, if it's something that you really don't want, then you need to brush it aside and focus your full attention, your full emotion, your full love, all of your energy to that which you do want. Hello, DGB. So, I mean, on that note, I'm going to close. I'm going to let this sink in. And now the things that tried to derail me, actually, there was something else that I needed to focus my attention on. So I celebrate those little roadblocks, those little ticking time pop bombs that went off in my path that kind of changed my plan a little bit, because there were some other things that I needed to focus on more. And I thank God for those people who unintentionally pushed me back onto the road of intention. I just shared a thought from Joel Osteen's I Declare 31 Promises to Speak Over Your Life. He's got some great little things out there. And the thing I like about Joel is he just makes it so simple, because it really is. This is Beth Daniels. This is the #1 Joel moment. I hope you enjoyed this. I'm learning too, and I'm just sharing as I learn and as I press forward.